Welcome to the live. Today's topic is about you are not masculine. You not acting masculine because he ain't man enough. You are acting masculine because somewhere within yourself you are overcompensating. And today we're going to discuss what is going on within you, possibly as to why you feel that you have to be more masculine than you would like to. And welcome to the live respect. Thanks for coming back. Now, this conversation is for women, but I also think everyone can receive value from this conversation. But the people I'm talking to the most in this conversation is women. And this is something that I have learned over the years and I want to share with you. Because do stop listening to content that's telling you the reason why you're acting this way is because he's acting that way. Because they will mislead you off of a cliff. When you listen to content that tells you the reason why you act this way is because of somebody else, what they are doing is telling you you don't have to take accountability for your life. You don't have to take responsibility for how you show up. And that you have to have the people in your life to adjust just so you can be okay, just so you can feel what you want to feel. That's what they're taking your power away. Now, I don't think that they're intentionally doing that, but that's what it feels like to me when someone tells me the reason why you're acting this way is because of what they're doing. And it's so much more deeper than that. And if you are wanting to have a deeper conversation and actually receive the results you want in your life, which is to be happy, to be loved, and at peace with who you are, then you are at the right place. All right. So, the reason why most women act masculine. And when I say most women, a lot of women act masculine. It is because somewhere within your life, you learn that if you try to control, if you try to argue, and if you try to fight, you will get your needs met. And if you don't do that, then there is a fear that you won't get your needs met. And to be masculine isn't necessarily to be a leader, because masculine energy is to control, to dominate, okay? When it's in the male form, to control and to dominate, okay? That's what the masculine in a male is. But when we're talking about masculine as the energy, what that means is that your energy goes outward. It's an outward energy. It's a structure. And when you don't understand that as a woman, you think that in order to get your needs met, that your energy needs to go outward. Your energy needs to dominate. That's what usually masculine women do, and they call it leadership. Okay, because I believe, and we're going to talk about how to identify if you are a masculine woman. And I have my notes because this is something that I am evolving in and learning, but it's something I want to bring to you because maybe it can give you some clarity. Maybe not. I don't know. So the reason why you could be overcompensating, and in your relationships, you think you have to fight, you think you got to argue, you think you got to keep explaining yourself, It's because something within you is saying, if I don't do this, I don't trust that this person will meet me. I don't trust that my needs will get met if I just be still, if I just be quiet. See, there's so many relationship uh coaches and women coaches that tell women to be quiet. Like, your problem is you talk too much, you need to be quiet, you need to let the man do this. But they're not giving you the understanding as to why your silence is probably your greatest weapon, tool, power, energy. Okay? Whatever word you use. They're not really telling women why being quiet is the best thing you can do for yourself and what it represents when you do it versus when you don't do it. Okay. And this is something that I have been working on for years with myself. And to know if you are a masculine woman, I want to bring in astrology because I am a masculine woman, okay? I'm a masculine woman. In astrology, how to identify if you're masculine or feminine, you look at your birth chart to see how many of the modalities that you have consistent of. Do you have more air signs, fire signs, water signs, earth signs? Now, if you are a masculine woman, you would have predominantly fire and air signs. And what that is Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. Those are the fire signs. And if you have predominantly air signs, you have Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Now, the placements that you want to look at, and I'm assuming that everybody that's watching this video knows what a birth chart is. And if you do not know what a birth chart is, please go look it up and put your information in there. So, the placements that you want to see, which ones have majority air and fire, is your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, your Mars sign, and your Mercury. Those are the placements that you want to see if you have more air and fire, because that governs your personality. Okay? Your Mercury is how you communicate and how you think. Your Mars is your actions and your desires. Your moon is your emotions and what you need. The sun is the core of your personality and what will fulfill you. And your rising is the self, the body. This is what people see. This is who you are because it governs the whole chart. So you want to see what energy is in those placements there. So you can determine if you are fire and air, which is your energy is masculine. Okay. So I'm going to assume that the women that are listening to this are masculine women. If you got air or you got water and earth, you are more feminine. You express inward. It's more inward. It's more emotional, it's more sensitive, but inward. Okay. So I don't know the experience of women that have predominantly feminine energy because I'm a woman that has masculine energy. And I have nothing but fire and air. My rising is earth, but other than that, I am fire and air. So this is something that I had to learn. And it's important for you to understand energy because your energy is what you are learning to master. See, we say we're here to master self, to know thyself. No, you are here to master your energy. You are here to know your energy. You need to understand what energy is. Because what is happening because of you being in relationships, those relationships show you how you are managing your energy. And as a woman, it's not about what you do, it is about what you don't do. And you want to understand how you handle your own energy because it's about quality versus quantity. So when you find yourself arguing with a man or arguing with anyone, you want to, or how you are being around people, you want to look at it as, how am I using my energy right now? Am I using my energy through quality, or I'm using my energy through quantity? Because when you think of using a person that handles their energy like it's quality, you would not give it out to everyone and anyone. You would not misuse it, because you got to look at it with your things. When you have something that you paid a lot of money for, like for example, this camera, do you think this camera is a camera of quality, or this is a cheap camera? Someone answer in the chat. Is this a camera, just by looking at this lens and this camera, do you think this is a camera of quality, or this is just something we probably got at Walmart somewhere? Someone answer in the chat. Eat a piece of watermelon. Okay, y'all don't want to talk to me. So I'll just continue. This camera is a camera of quality. So we have to handle this camera with care, because it costs money. It costs a lot of money, actually. So because it's a camera of quality, we're got to be very careful with how we treat it. That's how you want to look at your energy, what you give your energy to. Is, I am using my energy for quality, not for quantity. Quantity is that you give your energy to everything. You pay attention to everything. You got to talk about everything. You got to be around everyone, because you look at your energy as quantity. Like everybody can get this. And then you wonder why you are exhausted. This man is, you're not exhausted because the man ain't stepping up. You're not exhausted because you keep telling him over and over and over again to do something, to be something, to do this, to do that. He's not exhausting you. You are exhausting your own energy, thinking that you have to keep repeating yourself, thinking that you have to tolerate it, thinking that if I don't do something, it's not going to get done. You are exhausting yourself. He ain't doing that. He ain't exhausting you. It's you. You are, hold on, y'all. You are exhausting yourself. My foot started to fall asleep. You are exhausting yourself, thinking that if you keep repeating yourself, if you keep over functioning, if you keep arguing, and then you say, it's because I care, it's because I love him. And like, no, it's because you don't care why we do the things that we do when it comes to relationships. And I think what I'm going to do to keep this relationship moving forward is keep it in the framework of relationships, you in a relationship, because it's so much. To me, my mind is like, it's so much, but I need to keep it here so that it'll be even more simple. Because the reason why you think you have to keep arguing with your man, it is because, like I said, you're overcompensating with something. And plus, this is something that you learned. You learn that you have to be right. You have to be in control. You have to speak your mind. And if you don't, then you're not going to get your needs met. But are your needs getting met by doing all of that? Or they're just doing enough to shut you up because you won't stop talking. Or y'all, you know what I'm saying? So what I realized is that when you are trying to prove yourself, over-explain, defend, argue, fight, overfunction, just do the most, it is because you're moving in a state of lack, not trust, not clarity. That's when you know there's something within you right now that you feel like you're not receiving. But instead of you going within yourself to see what that is, we point the finger at the person, at the man that we're talking to in the relationship. I feel lack based on what you're not doing. And it keeps you in this loop, looking for something within him that you think that you're lacking. So you have to use that energy outward, that masculinity outward to get it, to control it, to dominate it. When you want to take that energy and bring it here, because this is where your power is when you can start here. Now, this is not me teaching you to tolerate a man not leading, a man not being present. But what this is helping you to stop abandoning yourself because he isn't. Because if you are a masculine woman, you are here to be a leader. Now, masculinity isn't just, oh, they're the ones that lead. But if you are a woman and you hold masculine energy, you are a leader. But the thing is, you must learn how to consciously lead and not try to dominate to get your needs met. And that's what has happened with so many of us, is that we think we have to fight, we have to yell, we have to run away, to get our needs met in a relationship. But what I learned, oh, hey, free spirited. Okay, good. But drive safely, please. And if you have any questions with this, put it in the chat. If y'all have any comments, put it in the chat. But you're in this relationship because it's helping you learn how to be a leader. It is not, as a woman, it is not about you being more soft. It is not about you being more soft. It is about you becoming more self-led. And this is why you get frustrated in your relationships, because you're looking for him to lead you. You're looking for him to solve it. And I'm sorry, you're the one with the problem, not them. So don't go to them for the solution, because all you're going to do is get frustrated. Okay? You are here to become self-led and become the leader that you know that you are. But what is preventing you from becoming the leader that you know that you are is your communication skills. It is your emotional capacity. It is your emotional intelligence. These are things that you are underdeveloped in. Just because we are women, it does not automatically give us a pass that we have emotional intelligence. We do not. Most women, everybody, okay? And let me put out a disclaimer. Everything I'm saying applies to everybody, okay? But today I'm talking to the masculine woman that is here to learn how to self-lead herself into the life that she wants, okay? That is what is preventing you from getting the life that you want. You have not learned how to self-lead. So like I said, the issue with masculine women is that they do not have emotional intelligence or emotional capacity. And you know this because when things don't go your way, do you respond? Do you understand? Or do you react? Do you get emotional? us being women, and just because we are considered the emotional archetype of the human species, does not give us automatic skill and power of emotional intelligence. It's just that we tend to express it more. But it doesn't mean that we're doing it through understanding and intelligence. It's a skill that one must learn, that anyone can learn. So today, that's what I'm going to teach you as a masculine woman, how to come into self-leadership and how to understand your emotions, how to master your energy so that you can receive the life that you want. But if you choose not to come into self-leadership and to master your energy, the consequences are, hold down. The consequences are that you're going to lose attraction for that man. Okay? You're going to lose attraction in the relationship that you're in. You're probably going to hate men altogether. And depending on who you are, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for you. I don't know. What is going to happen is he's going to shut down and resist you because, he just doesn't care, you know. And then the dynamic between you and the person is gonna be mother-son. You're gonna always have to tell him what he need to be doing. You're gonna always have to manage him. You're always gonna have to overfunction. You're always gonna have to be, you need to do this and this. And then it's that mother-son. That mother-son. And then what happens if you do not learn how to master your energy as a masculine woman? It's going to trickle into other relationships. Because I promise you, like, all of these traits that I've shared with you about that comes through lack is happening to other relationships, how you show up in the world. Always thinking you got to prove yourself, argue, fight. That shows up in other relationships and other situations. And that's why I teach you use your relationships as mirrors to show you yourself and how to master yourself. That's why these relationships, they come to you. Okay. But so now what I want to talk about is the framework of how to not overreact, how to not get emotional, and when you are in conflict. Because conflict is a good tool to help you become more self-led. Okay? So I have the 3 R's. When you are in a situation with your man, you don't want to react. I know you want to react because you told him several times to do the thing and he will not do the thing. All right? You feel like your needs are not getting met and you do not understand why. It's very frustrating. But maybe your needs aren't getting met. It's because have you taken the time to understand what those needs are? Most people in relationships are just butting their heads, going with the flow, and just figuring out life, la la la, like they learn from trial and error. Most people don't get into relationships with a clear standard and values of who they are and what they require in their relationships with others. Because if you did, you would not have any reason to argue with anyone. This is the standard. And most of the time, when you are clear about your standard, you're not going to attract anyone that goes against it because you will see it. You will rebuke it, or they will be like, they're not attracted to it. But that doesn't mean that you cannot develop those standards in a relationship to just kind of happen, okay? Because a lot of relationships are brought to us through seasons, not necessarily forever, but to help you and guide you if you can look at it that way. So, if you are in a situation right now to where your need isn't getting met. So, for example, I think I have an example. You might say, "Why don't you listen to me?" Or "I already told you this." Or "I need you to do this." Right? That's reactive. Like, "I need you to do, why aren't you doing this?" You're putting the energy back on to them because what? A need isn't being met. So this is my 3 R's. My 3 R's is restrict the reaction, reevaluate the emotion, respond with direction and clarity without convincing. See, we've learned to try to convince people to love us, to hear us, to care for us. Stop convincing a man to care for you. Because a lot of times they don't even know what that means. But I will say, the question I will say, do we even know what that means? Do we even know what our needs are? What do we need in a relationship? Because you can feel it, but you can't necessarily name it. And this in the way and how you know this is that people say, "I want more intimacy." What does that mean? And when you say you want marriage, what does that mean? Or you want a relationship. What does that mean? Like, what does that look like? What is a relationship? What is a marriage? What does that look like? Get more clear about that. So the first thing is restrict the reaction. So I know in that moment when something's not going your way, the first thing you want to do is call it out. But a lot of times what happens is that you call out their behavior. You call out like, "I don't want you to do this, and you're doing this, and da, 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 da." Okay, that's reaction. But the thing you want to master is learning how to restrict the reaction, not suppress, restrict it, stop it in its tracks. Because when you do not learn how to restrict, you're going to leak out your energy. And remember, your energy is your power. But if you're leaking out your energy with no direction and clarity, what happens? Now it's just poison. Now it's chaos. And you cannot expect someone to know what to do when it is your standard and value that has been violated that you hadn't even expressed to them what that is. Okay? So you want to restrict. Now, I will say in that moment, once you pause the reaction and allow yourself to see if you know why you're feeling reactive without accusing, without pointing it back at them, then you can say something. So, for example, you can say, "I don't like how this conversation is going right now. I feel uncomfortable. I don't know what's making me feel uncomfortable, but I'm going to remove myself so I can take some time to understand what's going on within me." Or you can say, "I can't allow you to talk to me in this way. So until let's come back when both of our minds are clear and we're feeling less reactive and have the conversation." You see what I'm saying? You don't have to tolerate nobody's behavior, but at the same time, you do not want to run away because you're avoiding an opportunity to bring clarity to the situation, to stop to stop what's happening without pointing the finger at the person. Name what's going on with you. Name what's happening. Like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like this. I don't like the way you're talking to me. I don't like your tone. And then you pause. Now, based on what they say will determine what you do from there. Because then if they get reactive with you, being like, that's your problem, you too sensitive, right? If they say something, right? Then you be like, I am not going to argue with you about this. Once we have calmed down, or if I calm down, I will revisit this. I don't want to talk about this right now. Remember, you stop it. You're not arguing. Okay, who gives a damn if they say you're too sensitive? Who cares? They're just looking for the reaction. And you have to understand, men thrive off of our energy. So the more you give in the energy, the reactivity, they're feeding. Give me more, give me more, give me more. Because remember, men's makeup is to control and dominate. You have to understand how men are. Okay, especially in the emotional field. We're talking about the emotional field. So I know you're like, wait, man. No, we're talking about in the emotional field. Most men control, dominate. That's why they don't know. When you be crying all this and that, what do? They're like, I don't know what to do with that. You know, if they haven't developed the skill of emotional intelligence, they're not going to handle your emotions with care. If you have not developed emotional intelligence and capacity, you're not going to handle their emotions with care. Because again, his emotion could be like, man, you too sensitive. His emotion could be avoidant. His emotion could be, man, bump on that. That's still an emotional reaction. See, so some people, but we're talking about men, they're not going to just be crying. Deflecting is a reaction. Defending is a reaction. So you might be feeling hurt, may not feel hurt, and you bringing that to him. What you think he's going to do? Deflect and defend. Why? Because in the emotional field, for men, it's about dominance and control. So that's why it's important for you not to go there. And when I say to go there, to try to prove, over-explain, to defend, because we think if we over-explain and we keep talking, that means that we have emotional intelligence. No, honey. That means you have a lack of self-trust and a lack of self-worth when you have to explain someone how to love you. Over-explain and keep telling it over and over and over again. No, that's a lack of self-worth. When you got to keep just explaining and getting them to see and they don't want to see, like, no. You have that's coming from lack. And when you are able to restrict, reevaluate, and respond, you're moving with love. See, I'm moving you towards love. That's what the 3 R's is about. It's self-love. So the first thing you're going to do to show that you love yourself is you're going to restrict. I'm not about to leak my energy out because I love myself. So let me keep that energy for me. And if I can name what I'm feeling inside, I'll do that. But if I can't, I'm going to articulate, hey, I'm not feeling okay with this. As soon as we can calm down, we can revisit this conversation later. And then remove yourself. And then when you remove yourself, the next thing you're going to do is reevaluate the emotion. Because emotions are signals. Emotions isn't truth. Emotions are signals leading you to the truth. Because sometimes in your emotions, it's reactivity. So this is the time where you want to take for yourself is, what am I feeling? Name what you feeling. Okay. Tetra said, wish my girlfriend was listening to this and not me, because she'll never listen to me, it seems. Well, you're here, Tetra. So this is also benefiting you. Now, I'm talking to women, but what I'm talking about is leadership, okay? I'm talking about to masculine women about being self-led instead of thinking that the man is the problem, or really it's just their underdevelopment leadership skills. You as a human being can learn leadership skills as well. So that's why you're here, because maybe you're here to learn how to be self-led so that then you can show that to your girlfriend. Okay? So thank you for being here. Okay. So next, you're going to reevaluate the emotion, the reaction. Like, let yourself feel. That's your moment. You're in your space. Let yourself feel. Go fuck off. Like, what the hell? Who think he is? I can't believe that. Let yourself feel. Don't give that to the other person. Let yourself feel what just happened. The disrespect, the lack of love, whatever it is. Let yourself feel it. Then once you allow the reactive wave to go through, sometimes it's 24 hours. I don't know if there's a time frame because everybody's different. But the more you do this, the better you'll get at it, okay? And it just depends on what it is. But now I'm making you conscious and aware. So now you're going to be more intentional. Now you're getting more intentional, okay? So, and even if it's going to take you longer than 24 hours, let it, okay? If you haven't got the answer to the signal of the emotion, okay? So now ask yourself, what am I feeling? Do you feel angry? Do you feel sad? Do you feel disrespected? Like, put your hand on your heart and it's like, what am I feeling right now about what he did? I feel hurt by that. And then you listen. Then you're like, what happened? And start thinking about what happened. Why am I angry about what he did? And then what could happen is you realize I felt ignored. I wasn't angry. I felt ignored because I felt like he wasn't listening. I felt like I had to repeat myself. And it makes me angry when I feel ignored in my relationship. But then sometimes if you take the time to reevaluate your emotions, you'd be like, you know what? Maybe the way I was looking at it wasn't necessarily that. Maybe I was overreacting a little bit. I can see I be overreacting sometimes because I be putting meaning and too much stuff and assumptions and too much stuff. Maybe I really was overreacting. Because you got to learn what to bring to him and what to keep to yourself, because that's your mess. But you want to learn the difference, because there are moments where you do need to bring it to him. But I'm going to teach you how to do that and what that looks like. Okay? So once you realize that a standard or a value has been violated, this is what you'll have to bring to him. Okay? So you felt ignored. But what is the standard in your relationship when it comes to what you want to see? What is it that you value? Because if it's a trigger that you felt ignored, then there's a value when it comes to communication. There's a standard with how you want to be met when it comes to getting your needs met. So before you say, you always been ignoring me, you never listen to nothing I say, you don't care about me, you don't like me, well, I ain't gonna take this no more. No. 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 No more of that. You're no longer moving in lack. No more. When you act like that, it's because you're coming from lack, not love. So think about that. It is important for me to feel heard in my relationship. And I value when we can take the time to sit and listen to each other. I don't always need you to give me a solution. You just being here and listening, that is so supportive to me. I feel really loved when you can do that. You see how that is? You see what you just did? You just moved into respond with direction and clarity. So before you go to respond, you need to really sit in the reevaluate stage, because this is your work. This is where you create the standard. This is where you get into the value. When it comes to what is your standard in relationships, when it comes to being ignored, what does that mean to you? What does it look like for you to be ignored? What would it look like for you to feel supported? And this is the thing that I don't think most people take the time to understand. And this ain't just a woman thing. This is the man. Since we got one man in here, the reason why you're reacting is because you know something's not right, but you have not taken the time to understand your standard when it comes to this type of behavior. Okay? So you can even say, I don't like being ignored. I will not tolerate being ignored in my relationship. And you can stop there. I will not tolerate being ignored. I've already said this to you, and I will not tolerate being ignored or repeating myself. You stop there and let them say whatever they want to say. Because what you just did, you set a standard that you will not tolerate being ignored, and you will not repeat yourself. Now, as a leader, it doesn't stop there. Okay? You're welcome. As a leader, it doesn't stop there. Because what does a leader do? A leader creates the vision. A leader gives direction. So you did that. You said, I will not tolerate to be ignored in my relationship, and I'm not going to repeat myself. But then you bring direction. And what support looks like to me, what conscious communication, whatever you use, I don't know y'all's language. What I value in my relationship is our ability to communicate and listen to each other. That's what I value. And then you can say what that looks like instead of you doing that, what it looks like for me to know that I'm being heard is when you do this. When you do that, I feel ignored. And what it looks like for me to feel supported and heard is when you do this. Okay? And you stop I gotta tell you this. It's stop. No more explaining. Don't over explain. Don't try to get them to understand. They don't need to understand why you. If I'm yelling at y'all, I got this mic. They don't stop trying to get them to understand. Stop trying to convince people to love you. Stop trying to convince people to understand you. No, you said what you said. And now it is their responsibility to meet you there. But the question I have for you is, what if they don't show up? What if they don't choose to meet you there? Because this will be the question, the fear in the back of your head that will not allow you to move in the state of love. Because fear is lack. And what we are learning to do to self-lead ourselves to victory is getting out of that lack. Because I'm here to tell you, when you start self-leading, and when you start loving yourself, it will change the relationship, and you will not have the power to know where it's going to go. Because now you are getting yourself out of the loop, out of the crazy, sadistic, chaotic loop that you and him have created amongst each other. So when you start restricting, reevaluating, and responding, you have just raised your frequency, moving it to love. Like I'm not doing that. I'm moving away from lack. I ain't fighting. I'm not trying to convince nobody to love me. I'm not trying to convince nobody to be with me. But I will let you know what it looked like and what's required, and you decide what you want to do with that. Because what you are moving into is peace. See, a lot of people talk about, I'm keeping my peace. What does that mean, you keeping your peace? When you hooting and hollering at somebody, that is not keeping your peace. And then you be like, you know what? I'm done. I ain't dealing with you. Woo. Keeping your peace is, despite the chaos in front of me, I will not bend to it. I will not give it my energy. And I can stand still while you act the fool. That's what your standard will do. Because then when you are in your standard, now the loudness will show up, and it ain't gonna be you this time. And I'm gonna tell you something. Men are not dumb. They're not dumb. They know exactly what to do. You want to know why? You want to know how you want to keep them in that field of knowing exactly what to do when you pull your energy away? He don't care what you do. He don't care if you hoot and holler at him. He don't care if you're loving on him. All he knows is that I got her energy. I got her attention. Men thrive off of that shit. And that's why men love women and want to be up under women all the time, because of the energy. We are the vessel, okay? And men thrive off of it. They thrive off of it. And so, will you cut that energy off and stand in your power? They say, I'm losing her. I'm losing. What I need to do? What I need to do? Because remember, masculinity is about what they do. Masculinity is about what I do. What I do. That's masculine. That's how men think. It's about what they do. But if you always filling in the gap and you trying to do it all and say it all, be like, you need to do this, you need to do that, they just gonna sit back and let you be the. They gonna sit back and let you be the man. It don't matter. They got your energy. They got it. They don't got to do nothing. They know you ain't going nowhere. Because look at how you acting. Men resonate with the acting. But when you change the behavior and cut off the energy, now it makes them have to what? Act. They got to do something. I got to do something about this because And then that's when you step into your feminine, because femininity is not about what you do. Femininity is about what you don't do. And you can still be a masculine goddess. Femininity is about what you don't do. Remember that. It's not about you being soft. It ain't about you being soft and no, it's about what you don't do. That's what femininity is. I'm not arguing with no man. I ain't arguing with no man. I ain't trying to convince no man to love me. I'm done with that. Go off, do what you want to do. Bye. Bye. Why are you still here? Like, I don't know why you still here. I said do what you want to do, man. That's femininity. Masculinity is all about what they can do to gain power and control. That's what they're trying to do at all times. Conquer, do all of that. That's and see, as masculine women, that's what we've learned to do. We learned to do all of that. We learned to be aggressive. See, men, they're aggressive. But a woman in her power, she softens the man. We ain't here to be soft. That's not what that is. Okay, baby, what's happening? I need to type this. Well, right now, mommy's on the video, so you're gonna have to wait. Oh, you know what? There is some pretzels or some nachos in the closet if you would like that as a snack. Or some chocolates. If you get chocolates, only get 4 chocolates in. Don't be just eating the bag. How about 5? Okay, go ahead. I trust you to make the right decision. So go downstairs and get you a plate and make you a snack plate. Okay? And I'll come down when I'm done. Well, what are you doing? I'm on camera. I'm talking. To who? I'm on live. Let's talk about it later. This is not the time to talk to me about what I'm doing. Okay? I trust you to make the right decision to make your snack plate. Okay? It's in the closet and in the refrigerator. And I'm okay with getting up and helping you leave the room if you can't do it by yourself. Okay, we'll get that and leave. Just close the door. You don't have to shut it all the way. Yeah, that's good. All right. Okay. Because what I found is that behavior trickled in my parenthood. Sitting here arguing with a child. Like, I ain't gonna do that. Now, children are a little bit more challenging because they tug at your heart, and then they're little, and then but I've learned to also not leak my energy out to him too. And now the older he gets, the better that is. But it's teaching my son that as well. Like, I'm about to argue with you. So let me see what you're saying. That's toxic, not peace. Yes, ego. When I get quiet, my partner gets nervous. Exactly. When you get quiet, they get nervous because it's like, oh, she ain't doing something. She ain't doing nothing. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. So all the stuff that you said that you wanted, you like, here they come doing it. Now all of a sudden they're attentive and they're affectionate. They're doing all the things because you stopped doing all the things. Yes, and make sure you can pour it. If it's too much, bring it up here and I'll pour it. He's done really well because it's 55 minutes. I told him only about 30 minutes. So listen, because I got notes everywhere. So what I will say, so over explaining, remember this, over explaining is not communication. It's a lack of trust that your words were not enough the first time. Now, if he asks you, well, help me understand, I want to understand where you're coming from. You can then share, but you better be careful because you're going into the red zone. You going into the red zone. Now he asks, I want to understand where you're coming from. Let him know. And then just remember, you go into the red zone because remember how y'all are used to communicating, going back and forth, back and forth. And that's not what you're doing. And if you tell him or call something out within him, and then he's going to try to rebuttal or defend, like, look, once he said it, look, I'm not interested in arguing with you about it. I said what I said. You asked for understanding, and this is what it is. You don't have to agree. That's it. I'm not interested in arguing with no man. Hell, I ain't used to argue with nobody. I'm telling you, when you can do this, you're gonna see, it's gonna open up your mind how you argue with everybody. You argue with your mama, your sister, your boss, your kids. Like, seriously. Relationships are not the problem. It's just that people that are underdeveloped are. And we go into these relationships with expectations and with different intentions of why we're doing it. And you think that if you argue, if you fight, it means something, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean, oh, more love. No, and for me, means lack of love. So I will say it does mean lack of love. You only have one life. This is your life, and you get to decide who can be in it and how. But you first must learn to trust yourself. You first must come from the space of being self-led. You're self-led because when you go to him with your problem, you're basically looking him to lead you. No. Stop going to him with the problem when you're the one with the problem. Stop looking for him with the solution when you're the one with the problem. So if you have the problem, that means the solution is there too. You see something ain't right. Take the time to see what's going on within you. You are a creator of your reality. The chaos is here to help you create. That's all chaos is. Chaos is like, girl, like something's you out of alignment to yourself. So I need you to step back and you need to reevaluate and you need to create the life that you want. So we say these things, we're creator of our reality. We say that words hold power, but we aren't moving like we know what we're talking about. And this is why they tell us as women, we talk too much. We talk way too much. We talk so much. Oh my gosh, we talk so much. But I want you to look at it as you give your energy out too much. That's all it is, honey. Because there's a whole bunch of like relationship people and women, and they just be saying stuff. I be thinking they so mean. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like women talk too much because they have not learned that their energy is sacred. They have not learned that the words and the energy they're putting out, they're leaking it. So when you stop talking, you are preserving your energy. Okay. Start observing. Less talking and more observing. Watching. I think the biggest thing that you'll have to learn is learning how to restrict your energy. Learning how to restrict it. Stop it. Pause. Pause. Like, ooh, I'm triggered. Pause. Pause. Pause the energy. Say, ooh, I'm not okay with this. Something is off. I feel triggered right now. And you can even say that. Keep it real. Keep it real. Like right now, I feel really triggered by this conversation. And I'm going to end it right here for now. And let's revisit it. And they might try to argue you down, be like, I have no interest arguing with you. So do what you want to do. That's it. You get to decide what you do with your energy. So does anybody have any questions? So remember, control equals managing him. Stop trying to be in control of others. So when you know you're in control, you know you're in lack when you're trying to manage him and tell him what he need to be doing, what he ain't doing. All right? You're in the lack zone. But when you are in true leadership and when you are in love, you manage yourself. Remember that. Love in leadership is I manage myself. Managing him is mean I'm controlling and I'm leaking my energy out. And these are principles any leader, even if it's a leader of a business, they have to learn how to manage themselves in order to lead the people. You see so many leaders fail. Why? Because they stopped managing themselves. You got to know how to communicate. You got to know how to listen. You got to have emotional intelligence and emotional capacity. Okay? You got to have discernment. You got to have discernment over your own emotions, honey. And self-trust. That is what it means to be a self-led woman. You have to work on these things. And most of you are underdeveloped in those things. And that's okay. You know what you can do. And I want to keep talking about this because this is the first time that I've brought this conversation to light. Because with me, the things that I teach is the things that I've lived and I'm experiencing. And when I look back at my life and all the relationships that I've been in, and even the current relationship that I'm in, is that I can see where I went wrong. I can see why those relationships failed. And I'm not saying that they didn't play a part in the ending of the relationships, but I definitely saw a consistent pattern within myself. Is that I did not know how to control. Now, I don't want to say control. I did not know how to manage my emotions. I did not understand what it means to be a leader within myself. I lived in so much lack when it came to my relationships. All of them, every single one of them. Now, I might have maybe, like, one relationship where that wasn't present, like, we really we it was it was a really great relationship where we just understood each other and we were 2 complete people. Like, I've had that once in my life to where it's just like, but for the rest of them, oh, ooh, they were learning grounds. They have all been learning grounds, but I see my part in it. I see it. Oh, I see it. So I was like, okay, I'm glad I see it. Now, what do I do about it? And this is how I came up with the 3 R's of self-love. I don't know. That's was where I got it, 3 R's. I like to create systems because it's like people can tell you something, but the way you can create a habit is through a system. So the system is restrict, reevaluate, respond. You know, that's how you communicate. That's how you can effectively communicate. And it also helps you to learn emotional intelligence. Now, the more that you do this, there you will be able to do this in real time to where when the moment's happening and to where you don't have to remove yourself, you will be able to get more clear about your standards and values because that's really what it is. As women, we have not taken the time to create the standard of our lives in our relationships. Okay. So when it happens, it's not that something is going wrong, it's an opportunity to make things right for yourself. Because we just assume that when we get into these relationships that everybody's just supposed to know what to do and what to say. And everybody is having their own experience. Even with men, they are definitely underdeveloped. Okay. They're underdeveloped. Um, but it shows up in different ways. Like, so there's some things as women we do naturally, and there's some things as men we do naturally. But when we come together, it's that's where the deficiencies are really shined upon to show you where you need to grow. And I do think that we can have successful relationships, but it first must start with yourself. You must take the time to um, understand yourself, you know? And I know we say this all the time, but I've been saying this since 2017, y'all. But I just feel like now I understand what that means. And understanding yourself is understanding how your energy is and how you tend to respond to life. Um, it's understanding that. Um, so so yeah. Okay. Mhm. Oh, okay, hold on. If a man hits his wife once, says he will never do it again, but does it again 2 years later, should he get a third chance? If he do it again, he needs to go get counseling, okay? He needs to go get counseling, okay? And if he does not get counseling, he does not get to come in the home. He does not get access to you. See, when someone is using physical abuse on you, there's something going on within them. That's still a control mechanism. And remember, most men have not learned how to manage their aggression. Most men are aggressive, okay? They're all aggressive, but some of them have discipline within that aggression. So if you are in a situation or if you know anybody in a situation that is going through this, he does not get access until he gets psychological help because there's something out of alignment with him and getting his needs met. And he has learned that how he can get in control is with force and physicalness. Okay. That is a harm to him and everybody around him. He needs help. That's how I look at that. I don't think the relationship is completely over unless you want it to be over, but he does not get access until he gets help, because now everybody's life is in danger, including his. Mm-hmm. And Libby is right. When he show you who they are the first time, believe him. Yeah, if the first time he hit you, then he needs to go get help. But if somebody, but y'all already happened, right? And then now you said the second time, do you give it a third time? No, they need to go get help. And they do not get access. So that's what I tell anybody. Like, there's something wrong with them, really wrong, that needs professional help and guidance. Yes, short and sweet says, it's okay to say no. I'm just now learning to tell people no. Yeah. And seeing so many words, that's what I'm saying. It's like, no, I'm not arguing with you. No, I'm not convincing you. No, I don't need to force you to love me or do anything that you don't want to do. No. Okay. But you want to be able to have clarity in that no, not for them, but for you. Because that no is coming from somewhere. That no ain't a yes. Why is that a no for you? You need to know that. You need to know that for yourself, because that's going to help you get clear about your standard, about what you want and what it looks like and what it don't look like. How do you rebuild after trust has been destroyed? Well, by not rebuilding. By not rebuilding. If they violated the trust, that's their responsibility. It ain't yours. What they say, Barbara the Builder? That if they violated the trust, that's for them to figure out, not you. Put your toolkit away, ladies. We ain't building nothing but our self-esteem. Okay? For real. Okay? You don't gotta do nothing. You ain't the one that destroyed it. Now, if there's something in particular that you want more clarity on, you can share it, but because trust looks different for everyone. So sometimes, no, not sometimes, we gotta believe people when they show you who they are. And a lot of times we stay in situations because we hope that the person will change. We live in a fantasy of what we would like for it to be, and we make things mean something that they don't. You might have a different perspective on what it means to be in a relationship than he does. So there could be a conflict in belief. So, that's a conversation I think that should be had in the beginning. Like, what does it mean for you to be in a relationship? What the type of relationship you like? Commitment? Do you think you should be with other women when you want to? Um, what does relationship mean to you? Do you think me because I'm a woman, I'm just supposed to sit here and tolerate whatever it is that you do? Well, like, we need to have these type of conversations with each other because everybody has their own definition on what a relationship is and what marriage is. And we don't what a parent is, and we don't realize, like, oh, we're incompatible because we didn't even have the conversation to even know that we just going off of good times and vibes. Well, we all know that don't last long when the responsibilities of life come in our faces, so it's just like, they didn't destroy the trust. They showed the truth. And now what? Now what you gonna do? What you gonna do with that? What you gonna do? Okay. Well, I have anything else that I want to add? Pretty much said everything. Yeah. So is there anything else that I've said that maybe you want me to expand a little bit more on? Because I said a lot. So even though I said it's not that the man's not doing enough. This is about you realizing you don't have to tolerate behavior you don't want, but you also don't have to abandon yourself in the process. Okay? This is about you not no longer abandoning y'all, I can't even say the word. This is about you becoming self-led and self-centered. Because all the problems in your life start with you. That's why you want to be self-centered. Because all the problems in your life started with you. So if you got a problem with somebody you're in a relationship with, you got to take that back with yourself and be like, how have I been showing up? Who am I? What do I think of myself? Why is this not okay for me? That's what I mean by self-centered. Like, you need to be like, what is happening? Why is this here? Why am I with a person like this? Like, for real, that's how you want to view self-centeredness. It's like, all the problems in my life is because of me. So who am I? Why did I let this happen? Why is this here? And a lot of people don't wanna sit with that truth, you know? And then when there is something that happens, then who are you? How are you going to handle this? That will show you who you really are. And most of us are kind of an emotional wreck, and I don't think we want to sit with that. Like, damn. Okay. You are responsible for getting your needs met in a relationship. You are responsible. Now there are exceptions to the rule. There is some men out there that they just know what to do. But most of them are not like that. Most of us have settled. Ooh, excuse me. Most of us have settled. Okay, you settled. Okay, now what? But you still have an opportunity to elevate the situation. But then again, they might go with you or they won't. But remember, we are the leaders, women. Women are the leaders of their household. Men are not the leaders. I'm sorry. They're not. And y'all know this. Y'all know this very well. Men are not the leader. They ain't paying attention to how can they lead anything? They ain't paying attention to nothing. They don't know what's going on. They only have the ability to focus on one thing at a time. That is no. Women naturally we are multitaskers. We think of many things. We can do many things but you have to know how to use that energy. Okay? You got to know how to use that energy to become a powerful leader in your life and in your home. Okay? All right, y'all. So, if there's nothing left to be said or shared, I'm going to go. Eat my watermelon for a few minutes. So sometimes people, they be having stuff. Y'all just be taking your time. What's one thing you're going to take with you from this conversation? What's one thing that you learned? I'm eating some watermelon. And it has mm-hmm. All right, y'all. Bye.